Hi, everybody. This is a debrief for the self-awareness activity that I did for August 18th, or as I said, whenever you resonated with it. The cards were can't or won't. Can't is the language of a child, won't is the language of an adult. Why not? Who says so? Check in with those voices in your head that are telling you no, it's not possible, too good to be true, etc. And what faces support that when you think about it? And now say yes to yourself. And then the other one was choose kind. Whenever you have the opportunity to be sarcastic, judgmental, critical, any of those things, choose kind instead. So while there were a lot of different possibilities about how this could play out, I'm just going to share with you how I noticed it showing up in my life and how I wouldn't have if I didn't go back and look at what the cards were again. And it was very valuable because the thing about can't or won't, the language being of, a child, can't being the language of a child, won't being the language of an adult, is that won't is a choice. Can't, it isn't. Won't is a choice. And that is where your power is. That is how you shape your life, right? It's the choices that we make about actions we will or won't take that define our boundaries as just a very basic thing. Like that's really how we start creating the structure in our life that supports us or doesn't. So how it happened for me was I'm in an amateur play, and there was our final rehearsal this week before we were due to go on. And it's a very small, very, very small play, very small part. It's a series of vignettes. And I ended up with a sore throat and a little bit of a fever and not feeling great. And I really didn't want to miss the last rehearsal, which was outside in the historic gardens here. Excuse me. And I thought I could push myself to go. I could push myself because I'm not that sick. I mean, I'm just feeling a little shaky. And in my mind, in spite of the fact that I really wanted to go, I also knew it was in my best interest not to. Whereas before I would have really deliberated, I shouldn't go, which is kind of like, I can't, I won't. Not really, but you know what I mean. There was that conflict back and forth. But in this case, it was, am I well enough to go? Am I not well enough to go? And so I actually gave the director the choice earlier on in the day. Do you want me around these people, or do you want me to stay home, not make other people sick, and protect my throat? And then what I said was, no, you know what? I didn't hear back from her, and I really wasn't feeling great. And we'd already had our final dress rehearsal and it went fine. And you know what? What I really feel like doing is staying home and taking care of myself. And and I let myself sleep. I let myself rest. And what struck me was I was choosing kind for myself. And I had the power to choose to go or not to go. And when I looked at why I might not have gone, it would have been the face of my father. It would have been the face of my bosses when I worked at the university. It would have been fear of having people not trust that I was genuine, or whatever, any quality of insecurity that I experienced as a kid. So on one hand, what I was really delighted about was it was fairly easy for me to make that choice. I didn't go into a lot of, the only why not was, it was a legitimate why not. Do I know my lines? Were we tight? Was it okay? And then when I checked in, who would have stopped me from going in my own mind? Like, what would have been the voice in my head that would have stopped me? And I realized she wasn't there anymore. I was able to choose kind for myself and rest. And I've done that all week, taking care of me. So there you go. However this played out for you, I would really encourage you to look at it and say, this week, or last week as you were doing these, did you have any moments where you felt like you couldn't make the choice you wanted to? And if you did, could you track it back to one person's influence or one belief system that prevented you from taking care of yourself first, or prevented you from making the choice that you wanted to make? And was the choice that you wanted to make in your best interest? So did you forego acting in your own best interest? And were you able to be kind? Were you able to be kind to yourself? And or if you were saying no to somebody, were you able to say it kindly to them? Or was the only way you could set a boundary for yourself was to not be kind? Because that's also been something that I've experienced in myself as I was learning to set new boundaries. And it still happens once in a while where it's the other extreme and it's like, okay, back off, Walden, back off. The other thing that I would ask you to look at with all of this is, where is your comfort zone in saying no? Do you say, I don't want to, or do you say, I can't? If you say, I can't, and it's something you really don't want to do, can't, and can't is the only way you can do it, do you ever find yourself making excuses for saying no? And is no just an option? Is a kind no an option rather than having to make an excuse? Oh no, I can't come. I've got plans for tonight. As opposed to, oh, thank you, but you know what? I really find that venue just a little bit too loud for me. Wow, that's really honest, eh? What would happen? Okay, that's it, my friends. Excuse me, I've already posted the awareness activity for next week. Have fun. Take care. Thanks for your comments.